Welcome back to Askewed Reviews. And today I'm reviewing a film that's currently in theaters. The movie that I'm referring to is the 2025 film Shelby Oaks, directed and co-written by Chris Stuckman. So I don't know how much advertising or marketing you've seen about this film, but it might be a movie that's gone under your radar and is definitely worth checking out. This is a really fun film that does a good job of blending a couple of different horror genres into one cohesive story. I also feel like at this point, now mind you, I just recently watched it, but I enjoyed it enough that it might be in contention for one of my favorite horror films of the year. So let me tell you more about the concept to see if maybe this is something that you want to check out. So the movie starts off being a mixture of part mockumentary, part found footage. And during this whole sequence, it's really telling the story of one of our main characters, Riley Brennan, who was a part of a group called Paranormal Paranoids, which is basically ghost hunters. So Riley appears to be one of the main members of this crew. Now, part of the reason that she gets involved with this is that she seems to have some sort of connection to the supernatural and has had this ever since she was a child. Now, at one point in the film, the found footage and documentary style sections go on the back burner and it really becomes more of a full length feature film. And at this point, that's mainly due to the fact that we discover that the paranormal paranoids have actually been missing for some time. And due to the fact that people can't decipher whether or not this is a hoax or whether or not it is real, this manages to skyrocket their fame and they become internet famous. Since everyone wants to know the answer of what happened to Riley and the rest of her group, the documentary crew reaches out to Riley's sister, Mia. We soon discover that in this story, Mia is the main character, and she is dead set on figuring out what happened to her sister. After a horrific incident occurs, Mia manages to discover a possible clue as to where Riley actually is. So she decides that she's going to head off there as it doesn't seem like anyone else is willing to help or believe. So the location that she heads off to is abandoned, decrepit, and of course, absolutely creepy. And you may have guessed by now, that location is in fact Shelby Oaks. So can Mia manage to solve the mystery and either find her sister or find the truth of what actually happened? So at least for me on my scale, I'm giving Shelby Oaks a 4 out of 5. In my own opinion, there's a lot to enjoy about this movie. A really good creepy atmosphere, a fun story, wonderful character performances, really good effects, and I'm not too surprised as this movie was actually executive produced by Mike Flanagan. Something else that was fun about this movie is you'll recognize some faces, either ones that are instantaneously like, whoa, I didn't realize they were in this movie, or there'll be ones that if you look up IMDb, you'll realize other movies that you really enjoyed from your past that they were in, and you're just like, holy cow, I haven't seen them in forever. I also feel it's necessary to mention the director and co-writer for this film, Chris Stuckman, mainly due to the fact that I have so much respect for him. He started off his career basically doing exactly what I'm doing right now, doing online reviews and just making videos and content, and now he's got a film that actually appeared in theaters. If you ever wanted to make your own horror movie or write a horror story, 2025 is the year that should inspire you. So let me name off a few examples that really prove my point. Earlier this year, we had A Clown in a Cornfield. Now, that started off as a book that, anyone probably could have gotten, but due to the fact that the author put in a lot of work on social media to get the word out there, it became so popular that there were sequels, and of course, as I mentioned, it became a film this year. And then, of course, there's two other movies that were made by TikTok content creators, Skill House and House of Eden, that also came out this year. And of course, this movie, like I said, a YouTuber went from making content to making a full length feature. So I don't know about anybody else, but hearing that these people went from just making simple content or stories to actually getting things out there into the world and having them put up on the screen, I'm super hyped about what could happen with my own future because I've always wanted to make a horror movie. And one thing that I'm really proud of is that earlier this year, I actually wrote a horror short story that got published in an anthology book called Bizarre Splatter Patterns. And I was so excited about that, which, by the way, if you haven't purchased that, you absolutely should go and find that. It is on Amazon. But anyway, putting aside me trying to sell my own stuff, this movie and others like it really should be that little bit of ignition that you all need to be able to go out and create and just make content, make movies, do whatever you have a passion for. Because as this movie has proven, you never know what the actual ceiling is until you break through it. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Askewed Reviews. And if you've already seen Shelby Oaks, let me know what you thought about it in the comments.